All right, let's break down the latest episode of The Boys. You know, some episodes just move the pieces around the board. This one just flipped the whole damn table over. There was this one single brutal theme running through every single scene, and it's a philosophy that's about to define the endgame for everyone. And that theme is pretty simple. Fuck around and find out. I mean, it's always been the dark, beating heart of this show, right? But in this episode, it's not just a motto, it's a mission statement. Every single one of our main characters makes a huge, high-stakes gamble, pushing all their chips to the middle of the table. The whole hour is just about the brutal and, often bloody consequences of those choices. And of course, the biggest gambler of them all is Homelander. He's totally done pretending. He's not playing superhero anymore. He's making a play for actual godhood, and he's daring the entire world to try and stop him. So how do you become a god? Well, you don't just ask people to worship you. You have to manufacture it. And under the frankly terrifying guidance of Sister Sage, Homelander is throwing out his old PR playbook. No more being a humble man of the people. Nope, he's launching a full-on, meticulously planned culture war. It's a scorched earth campaign for the public's hearts and minds, and he's casting himself as the main deity. And this right here, this is the playbook. It's an absolute masterclass in division, as simple as it is diabolical. Just take a look at the two columns Saja set up. On the Angel side, the us side, she doesn't just put Homelander, she puts him right next to Jesus. Think about that. She's creating this powerful visual, this ideological link between them. The message is crystal clear. They are the good guys, the divine forces. They are us. Now look at the demons list. This isn't just a random list of enemies. No. It's a carefully curated set of culture war hot topics designed to make people angry and afraid. She's taking complex ideas like diversity, equity, and inclusion, or social issues like transgender athletes, and just boiling them down into these demonic concepts. And who's at the bottom of the list? Starlight. Saj is literally recasting a hero as a heretic, lumping her in with everything she wants her followers to hate. This is not a PR strategy. This is the creation of a new religion, and it leaves zero room for any middle ground. You're either a believer or you're a demon.
So while Homelander is off building his church, the boys are, in a back alley making some really desperate gambles. And this whole part of the episode is just defined by their failures. It feels like every single move they make, every plan they come up with, just blows up right in their faces. They're not just on the defensive, they're sinking in quicksand while their enemy is literally learning to fly. It's all about the terrifying cost of desperation.
And man, this just says it all, doesn't it? This is the perfect way to capture the journey for the boys in this episode. It is this brutal cycle of taking 2 steps forward and then getting violently shoved 3 steps back. The story keeps giving them this little glimmer of hope, this potential way to win, only to just snatch it away. And that was never more obvious than with the single biggest advantage they had, the soup-killing virus.
Okay, let's be real about what this super-killing virus was. In storytelling terms, it was a weapon that was just too good. It was powerful enough to end the entire show in like 5 minutes. If Butcher had a vial of this stuff, Homelander's dead, series over, roll credits. The writers basically wrote themselves into a corner. So what was their solution? Well, they had to take it off the table. The virus gets destroyed thanks to our new characters Zoe and Samir, and now, almost like a plot reset, Frenchie's been given the long, slow job of trying to remake it from scratch. This pretty much puts the main quest on hold, and it forces the story to pivot from this all-out war to more of a tense waiting game, really focusing on how desperate everyone's getting in the meantime.
Now, Butcher's gamble, it's way more personal. And honestly, it's way more cruel. On the surface, what do we see? We see a father figure comforting his son Ryan after he got that traumatic beatdown from Homelander. But if you really listen to his words, there's a chilling calculation behind all that comfort. He's not teaching Ryan how to heal. He's teaching him how to fight smarter. He tells him it was dumb to attack without being powerful enough. He's not raising a son here. He's sharpening a weapon. He is grooming this kid to be the one tool that can finally kill Homelander, and he doesn't seem to care what it costs Ryan himself.
So this focus on Butcher's manipulation brings us to a really fascinating and frankly a pretty terrifying fan theory that's been gaining a lot of steam, and it all revolves around his bulldog, Terror. I mean, pay close attention to the scenes this season. Terror isn't just a background prop anymore, is he? We see Butcher carefully giving him his medicine, taking care of him in his old age, but this is the boys. We know that tender moments are almost always a setup for tragedy. So you gotta ask, is the show deliberately focusing on the one pure thing left in Butcher's life just to set up the one loss that could completely and totally break him for good?
And this theory isn't just coming out of nowhere. It's pulled directly from the comics. In the original story, Terror is Butcher's loyal soldier. I mean, he's often commanded to do some unspeakable things to Soups, but the dog's most important role in the story is actually his death. When a Soup kills Terror, that is the moment that severs Butcher's last tie to his own humanity. It's the trigger that turns his personal vendetta into a full-blown genocidal crusade against anyone with Compound V. So what's the show doing? By showing us Butcher's affection and care for his aging dog, it's setting up this huge emotional anchor. And if the showrunners decide to pull that anchor up, well, it could be the one thing that pushes our version of Butcher past the point of no return. And speaking of the comics, wow, this episode was a massive one for all the book readers out there. The showrunners made some really definitive choices, drawing a clear line in the sand between their story and the source material. They confirmed some major character changes, and they completely torpedoed one of the most popular fan theories that's been around for years.
So let's take a look at Starlight. In the show, we have this complex, painful family drama about her dad who left and a mom who pushed way too hard. But in the comics, it is so much darker. Her parents literally sell her to Vought after her powers manifest at birth and blind them. She's treated like a corporate asset from day one, raised in this cold, sterile Vought foster system. The show made a very deliberate choice here. They traded that cold, transactional backstory for something way more emotionally relatable. It really grounds her character and makes her fight against Vought not just a professional rebellion, but a deeply personal one that's rooted in her own family's trauma.
And now for the big one. The theory that has been debated on forums and in comment sections for years. The Black Noir twist. Fans of the comics have been waiting, convinced they knew the secret behind that silent mask. Well, this episode took that theory and just shattered it completely. It's over. It is officially 100% debunked.
For anyone who hasn't read the comics, here's the deal. In the books, the ultimate twist is that Black Noir is actually a secret, even more psychotic clone of Homelander. He was created as a living weapon just to kill the original if he ever went too far. So when the new Silent Noir showed up this season, that theory went into overdrive. But the show just pulled the rug out from under everyone. The big reveal wasn't some world-ending clone. It was an annoyed method actor who's furious that the Deep is getting credit for his work. It's a hilarious, brilliant anticlimax. It's such a classic misdirect from these showrunners who just love to mess with fan expectations.
Okay, so now we get to the main event of the episode, the mission to Fort Harmony. And the location itself is this pitch-perfect parody of Marvel's Camp Lehigh, you know, Captain America's old base. But this is not a place of wholesome patriotism. No. Beneath the surface, it holds a horrifying secret, and the answer to the single biggest question this series has ever asked. Now, before we get to the secret, you have to understand who Soldier Boy is supposed to be. He's the show's twisted, funhouse mirror reflection of Captain America. And I mean, the parallels are so deliberate. Where Cap got the super soldier serum, Soldier Boy got the first, most potent version of Compound V. Both were icons of their time, put on ice for decades, and woke up as a man out of time. They even used the same weapon, a nearly indestructible shield. But here's the difference. Where Captain America represents an ideal, Soldier Boy represents the ugly reality. He's what happens when you give that kind of power not to a good man, but to a toxic, broken one. So, what is the dark secret of Fort Harmony? Well, it's a supine named Quinn who's been turned into a living biological weapon. He emits this airborne parasite. The show calls it toxoplasmosis, but it has nothing to do with the real thing. This agent infects everyone around it, and it just amplifies their deepest hatred, turning them into these rage-filled killers. But, and you gotta love this, in a darkly funny twist, two people are immune, Frenchie and Soldier Boy. And why? Because as the show reveals, their bodies are so saturated with a lifetime of hard drugs, the parasite can't get a foothold. Their own vices literally save their lives. And this is the moment. This is what everything has been building towards. Under the influence of the parasite, Homelander loses control, which gives Soldier Boy the opening he needs to trap him inside this containment chamber. And what's inside that chamber? Enriched uranium. And for the first time ever, we see the impossible. Homelander, the indestructible god, starts to bleed. He falters. He is vulnerable. The show has finally revealed his kryptonite.
This reveal is absolutely monumental, and it connects so many dots. The weakness to radiation gives us a perfect logical link to Soldier Boy's power, which is basically a walking nuclear reactor that depowers other soups. It also mirrors a detail from the comics where the military develops depleted uranium rounds specifically to hurt soups. But here's the key thing to remember. It's a weakness, not a silver bullet. While the radiation clearly hurts him, Homelander's insane healing factor lets him withstand an amount that would kill any other living thing instantly. So they found a way to hurt him, but they haven't found a way to kill him. At least not yet.
So, armed with this totally earth-shattering knowledge, the episode pivots into its final act. The fight moves from the physical battlefield of Fort Harmony to a psychological one. And it all leads to this final, tense showdown between the two men who hate each other more than anything else in the entire universe, Butcher and Homelander.
For just a second, it feels like Butcher holds all the cards, right? He's seen Homelander bleed. He knows the secret. But Homelander isn't just muscle. He's a predator, and he makes this simple but devastating deduction. If Butcher had the virus, the ultimate weapon, he would have already used it. The fact that he's still standing there talking means the virus must be gone. And in that one instant, you see the power dynamic flip completely. Homelander's one true fear is just gone, and his arrogance comes roaring back, stronger and more terrifying than ever before.
So, beaten physically, Butcher plays his only remaining card, psychology. He can't punch Homelander, so he targets his soul. He looks the self-proclaimed god right in the eye and delivers this devastating line. He points out that all the power, all the worship, all the fear, it's just a mask for the pathetic, needy little kid underneath. Homelander can rule the entire world, but he will always be alone with that emptiness inside of him. And the episode's final, chilling montage shows us the result of Sister Sage's campaign. And here's the scary part. It's working. Butcher may have landed a solid psychological jab, but Homelander is winning the war for public opinion. Across all the news reports, social media, street interviews, we see the narrative shifting. He's being hailed as a divine figure, a savior. People are actually starting to worship him. He has successfully become a god in the eyes of the masses.
And that leaves us with the central question of the entire series, now brought into razor-sharp focus. Homelander is getting everything he ever wanted. He's got absolute power, he's got growing worship, and he has no credible threats left. But, like Butcher said, will it be enough? Even after becoming a god in the eyes of the world, will Homelander ever be able to fill that massive void inside himself? I mean, what does a god do when he's both all-powerful and deeply existentially unsatisfied? And that is a terrifying thought to end on.